Okay, so this video is something that happened to me today, and I realized that I had quite a bit of knowledge about it. And a lot of you might know a lot about this stuff, but a lot of you might not. So this video is for the people who don't. So something happened to me today. I was babysitting two little boys, and this knock comes on the door, and I opened it, and my dog was going crazy, and she said, "Hi, is Heather here?" And I live in a very small community, so everybody knows each other, and I just moved here. So the next thing I did was either really, really smart or really, really stupid. I said, "No, come in." And she came in, and she was, I kind of had an idea of who she was because of what she said her name was, and it sounded really familiar from somebody that I was speaking to earlier. So, anyway, so she ends up bursting into tears because she just ran out of I don't know, a lot of years of an abusive relationship. And so I made her a coffee, and I called Heather, and Heather came home, and Heather talked to her about it. And I wanted to share with you guys some of the early signs, so not hard and fast rules. They could be nothing, and they could be something. And then I want to share with you just a few major red flags and I only made a few of them because these are the only ones that I know for a fact are important, and they are red flags. So the early signs, I wrote them down on my list. I've been researching and making sure my facts are right all day, and I'm not editing this video. So early signs would be telling your secrets to his friends after you told him not to. So that means, like, if you tell him something out of confidence and he tells all of his friends, that is something that has happened to me before, and on multiple occasions, that person always ends up being not reliable, not trustworthy. These are all small things. I'll tell you when we get to the big stuff. Checking out other girls in front of you, guys, no. And then girls checking out guys, no. When you're dating somebody, and maybe you're not exclusive, maybe you are, it's still disrespectful, and it's still a little red flag. So, I'm just going to go through all of these. Not texting back right away, again, not hard and fast rule. Neglecting responsibilities, meaning not getting your driver's license right away. Not having general characteristics like showering at least once a week, if not, make it at least once a month. Stuff like that. So disrespecting your parents, that I debated to put that on the big list, because one of the tests, I have two tests: how you speak to your mother is a huge thing, and how you are around animals. If you do not want to help out with the animals, or the animals are freaked out by you, not a hard and fast rule, that's a red flag for me. Not showing remorse. So one time, long years ago, I was dating this guy, and when I used to go to parties, he wouldn't allow me to speak to other guys, and I used to smoke at the time, so I asked this one guy if I could have one of his cigarettes, and he walked away, and in fear, I told the guy that I was with, thinking, because I didn't want anybody else to tell him, and him to get the wrong impression. So he said, "Wait right here." He went outside, and he put that guy in the hospital, and he didn't feel bad at all about it. That is a red flag. That guy was abusive. Maybe not to women, but he was not a good person that you want to be in a relationship with, regardless. Emotionally abusive to women, obviously, but anyways, so... Oh, and that, by the way, this is about emotional and mental abuse, and then the bigger ones are what usually leads to physical and mental abuse. Extreme jealousy, so again, existing but unhealthy relationships with exes. So I know a lot of people who have been in a relationship with somebody, and they still have existing relationships with their exes, and it is really obvious when you're starting a new relationship and you still haven't cut ties with your exes, or gotten closure with your ex. That can sometimes lead to cheating and stuff like that. Sometimes, not all the time. Being overly nice, so fake nice. You can almost always tell, but guys or girls, when people are overly nice to you and never get mad or never get sad or never get any kind of negative emotion except for happy, that's not real. That's not reality. Everybody has bad days. So flirting while you're still in a relationship or just got a long-term relationship. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and that person is flirting with you, they obviously don't have any respect. That's an early sign of a bad relationship. Not necessarily abusive. Again, early signs. So, selfishness is the last one, which my example is never gives tips. I tip really big. I think that if you're working as a waitress or as a server or anything like that, you already get paid what's probably minimum wage. So I am further ahead to give you like 15% or whatever. Sorry, my dog's attacking him off. 15% or whatever it is as a tip, because I think of other people. So if somebody doesn't think of anybody else but themselves, they're takers, they're receivers, they're not good people that you want to be in a relationship with. So on to the big signs. I have a few big signs that I feel like, and I've seen a lot of abusive relationships, and I've been in a few of them, and these are the telltale signs that I know that I've seen in every single one. So first one being only talking to you when they need something and always asks favors but never returns any. So again, selfishness is like if you have a car and they don't, and they always call you and they ask you for a ride and then don't call you again for a week, and the next Friday they want a ride again. That one is a non-extreme case, but then an extreme case would be when you're in a relationship and you're always doing something for that other person out of the kindness of your heart, and they never want to do anything for you. Like if you're on your period and you need a guy to go to the store and get chocolate, or to go to the store and get pads, and he won't do that. Things like that. Not necessarily that. That, to me, is a huge red flag. And it varies in extremities. So, number 2, feeling of always giving, which is basically the same thing as the last two. Feeling of always giving, never receiving. At first, the relationship feels wonderful because you love to give, they love to receive, but the abuser will keep taking, and that's when the abuse starts, when you become dependent on that person. An emotional caretaker would rather take on guilt, anger, depression than make a loved one feel that way due to fear of incompliance. So a caretaker, emotional caretaker, are people who are vulnerable to abusive relationships. They feel like if they upset their partner, then they are in compliance. So they always have to do everything and bend over backwards and give and give and give to that one person. So that's what I mean by that. And this actually happened to me with somebody, and I just thought I'd put that in there because this is a sign of a bad relationship. Finding girl clothes / belongings if he lives alone. That one's obvious. I just wanted to put that in there because it's a pretty obvious red flag. Run. Number 4, and this is my most important one. This is like, number 4 is the highest and 1 is the lowest, and it is mind games. Not to be confused with tests, like I said, how people are with animals and how people treat their parents, but mind games, manipulation, guilt-tripping you when you say you're unavailable. These are examples. Lying by omission, so only telling half-truths. Denial, rationalizing, so, well, I wouldn't have hit you if you hadn't have been so snarky or whiny, or if you hadn't have mouthed off to me. That's rationalizing, like, you made me do this. Minimalizing, oh, I didn't hit you that hard. And playing the victim. So it's not my fault I'm like this, it's my parents' fault, or it's my teacher's fault because they gave me detention in grade 2, and victimizing, and everybody's against me and feel bad for me, and I don't have to take responsibility for anything because I'm a victim. And that is the easiest person to be, and I've been there, I've been the victim. It's not my fault, it's your fault, it's my parents' fault, it's everybody's fault, because when I was 5, I was grounded for 5 minutes because I snuck chocolate into my bedroom, and that's why I smoke cigarettes, because it's my parents' fault. Parents, it's your fault. That's the victim. So, if this sounds really familiar, there are a lot of helplines that you can call. I will put some in the description, and if it sounds a little bit too familiar and it sounds a little bit like you, then there are also people that you can talk to, and don't feel ashamed to get help. That's what it's there for. You're not a crazy person. So one last thing I'd like to leave you with is that you are awesome all by yourself. You don't need anybody to clarify that for you. I just did. Love you like I love you, and you will be just fine making it on your own. Think about all the things you've survived so far. You are tough, and you got this. Okay. Mwah.